So, with every story, a bit of background is probably useful. My name is Matt O'Connor, and I'm a practicing trial attorney in Kansas City, Missouri. And as you can see from the pictures, I used to take myself pretty seriously, although I have had some great clients who've kept my levities. I've worked as an attorney for 23 years in the court system here in Missouri. And sometime last year, when Donald Trump first started running for president, the concept that we should build a wall to keep out immigrants, I thought, seemed odd and laughable given we're all really British immigrants. I mean, after all, none of us really came from here except a few Native Americans that are left in this country. So, for a fun summer project, I thought it would be interesting, to say the least, to go to the Republican National Convention. My dog wasn't all that into it, but, what's she gonna do? And by way of further background, my background in television is I hosted a show called A Wicked Offer on the CW, where we offered people money to test their moral and ethical limits. And it was a great break from the practice of law for 3 months, and I enjoyed it, but it was also amazing to see just what people would do for money. And I've learned from that process never to underestimate the power of money, the power of greed, and its allure, especially when it involves television. And so I set out initially really to make fun of Donald Trump and probably the people that supported him. But as is often the case, something funny happened along the way. You see, I believe that a documentary should be objective and that you should keep an open mind and that the facts should draw you to the conclusions. And that's what happened. Oh, and in case you didn't recognize me from A Wicked Offer, I also did a music video where I played a guy named Jake, who was a bad guy. I'm really kind of a goofball, but for some reason people like casting me as sort of a bad guy, which is fun to play since I'm really not in real life. Anyway, back to Cleveland and the Republican National Convention. It was an amazing process. I actually drove to Cleveland because I wanted to go through Louisville, Kentucky to pay homage to my childhood hero and someone I have admired for my whole life because he gave up everything for what he believed in, and that was Muhammad Ali. And along the way, I learned a lot about people in this country, not just from the Republican National Convention, just from interacting with people as I enjoyed my busman's holiday, so to speak, of traveling across and interviewing people and pretending to be a British immigrant myself. Although I was really glad to stop using the British accent because it got a little old after time. Although I can still do it today, and I can fake out most actual British citizens or immigrants. In fact, there's an interview in this documentary where I interviewed a British immigrant who is now a United States citizen, and he had no idea that I was faking my accent. I have my son to thank for that too, as we practiced my British accent ad nauseum throughout the summer in preparation for the Republican National Convention. One thing that I'll tell you at the outset, don't have any presuppositions. This isn't a piece bashing or cheering Donald Trump. In fact, it's really not about Donald Trump at all. It's about us. It's about the choices we've made and the consequences of them, and how I hope that in the future we maybe take a little more time to make better choices. And so, this is And for the Republic.
one nation, nation.
America.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
America.
To the flag.
I pledge allegiance
United States
to the
of
flag
America. And to the republic
I pledge allegiance
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
for which it stands, one nation, under God, nation for all, indivisible, of the United States of America, and to the republic, United States of America, and to the republic, and to the republic, indivisible, indivisible, one nation, one nation, one nation.
For this country since we first met. He never had a hidden agenda when it comes to his patriotism, because like me, he loves this country very much.
To the republic, United States of America, and to the republic, and to the republic, indivisible, indivisible, one nation, one nation, one nation, one nation, nation.
America.
Nigel St. Regis reporting from the Bible Belt. It is hot out here in the middle of Missouri, as they call it, the Bible Belt. Big shock to me. Thought it was a bookstore. Not many books, quite a few magazines, and some objects that looked rather uncomfortable. Continuing our journey, here we are on the way to Cleveland for the crowning of Donald Trump. Stay tuned to Reggie St. Regis Live.
Nigel St. Regis reporting live from Louisville, Kentucky. Took me a couple of times to learn how to pronounce that correctly. I was calling it Louisville, much to my chagrin. Louisville, Kentucky, future home of the National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution, on our way to Cleveland, and the crowning of Donald Trump. Is this a revolution, revolting, or just another candidate? More to come live on Reggie St. Regis. And by the way, we're across the street from the Louisville Slugger Factory. I think I'm going to get a baseball bat to take with me. You never know.
boys getting together to drink and party. And well, it really is. What I see in Montana is the people who suddenly have jumped on this Trump thing are people who there's a lot of, like myself, disgruntled Democrats that are looking for something besides what's in there right now. I mean, the country's 19 trillion in debt, and it's beginning to register with people out there. And because of that, and then you have someone who comes along and points out the problems with this immigration, the problems with the country in general. And of course, let's face it, Barack Obama is the best thing that ever happened as far as waking people up, because the guy is such a left-wing nut, and he's very smooth, and it's not a racial thing. I think the thing that people, like in our area, they're becoming more and more aware of his Muslim roots. And I think as they see him flooding the country with Muslim immigrants, not that they're necessarily anti-Muslim, just concerned about seeing a fifth column type situation develop in the country. And so all of a sudden you have a political candidate who says what's on people's mind. What you see out in the coffee shop, they suddenly are finding a presidential candidate that actually says the very same thing. And like myself, I was not of course, as I mentioned, I was a Democrat. I was McGovern coordinator when back in the elections, and then
the world has changed quite a bit since.
Well, and what happened is you saw the thing, and being a political science professor, I understood history and I understood the Constitution, and all of a sudden, during the Carter period, I began to realize that we were going completely away from the foundation of this country. And I waffled back and forth. I mean, the first non-Democrat I had ever voted for was Perot. And that was largely because Bush was pushing the New World Order, which I didn't want that either. And of course, Clinton was a crook, so I wouldn't support him, so I supported Perot, which I learned my lesson, you don't support third-party candidates. Hence, I think, will bring a stability to the mainstream Republicans.
That's what I think.
The people who are really concerned about, is Trump, is he really a Democrat? All these things, come on. And it's like I point out to people, let's face it, when you're doing business in New York, you have to bribe the right people. I mean, let's face it, New York is a left-wing state that it takes, you got to grease palms to get anything done if you're going to do a business. And I'm accepting the fact that he seems to be not contradicting himself. Now, he seems to be following through that he is, in fact, conservative. And I think the thing that impressed me the most, I saw a picture of little Donald at about 7 or 8 years old sitting on his dad's lap on a D8 cat on a construction site. And I thought, you see the work ethic being brought in, which is so rare nowadays with people, with kids. I mean, the new generation doesn't have it. And then he himself brought his kids up with him, 10, 12 years old, apparently they were there. And the thing that impressed me the most about Trump is the fact that how many millionaire families